Hello and welcome back to the cronecast at the rising moon. Hey guys, on this channel I do pick a card readings. I also have my podcast video interviews posted here as well. That's Logical Magic Examining Esoterica, but this is the cronecast. And today's pick a card is what area of your life is about to experience a breakthrough. What breakthrough is at hand? Now I have 4 oracle decks placed out. We're going to be using the same tarot deck on all of the readings. But concentrate on the piles. You're going to have a moment here where you're not going to hear me talking. You're just going to have a moment to concentrate on this. See which one really calls out to you, and that will be the message that you're most meant to receive. What breakthrough is at hand? Now, this can be symbolized by the tower. And so if you get a tower in the tarot reading, don't be surprised by that because it's also the card for epiphanies. What breakthrough is at hand in your life? And remember, I specialize in realistic readings, which means I'm not just going to be telling you about abundance and blessings and, law of attraction things. If there are obstacles in the path, if there are things that you are working on, I'm going to try and be very honest with the messages that are coming through. So if that's not the type of reading you prefer, that's cool. There are wonderful readings all over YouTube, but that is what I specialize in, is self-empowerment and realistic readings. Take care. I will see you at the time of your reading. Welcome back. Hey, if you chose pile number 4, this is your reading. We're putting the number 4 over there so people can easily fast forward to the reading, but there are always timestamps in the description box down below. You chose the Earth Magic Oracle. We'll get a couple of cards from that. And then everybody's getting the Guardian Angel Tarot as the thing bringing them their predictive cards this time. Let's get going. What breakthrough is at hand for pile number 4? Remember, I do realistic readings, so there could be good news, there could be bad news. Honest to goodness, this reading has been so fun because there's been so much good news. Hooray, my poor collective that has been through the poo. Let's get going here. What have we got for pile number 4? What breakthrough is at hand? And before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. The 9 of Wands. Okay, so this is like needing to have good boundaries. It's the Wounded Warrior cards, the PTSD card. I like the boundaries energy though. King of Pentacles in the upright. That can be an earth sign. It can be Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus. But it really is like a card of business, of being in the 3D. It's things happening within the 3D, and it's this like very abundant, prosperous energy. With the 10 of Cups in the upright, that is happiness, fulfillment. It's life partner energy. It's also one of the cards for miracles. And then I've got the Ace of Swords, which is clarity, understanding, communication. Boy, you've got much better boundaries than you used to. But it's been a battle, and I'm really sorry for that because learning how to be in a healthier energy has been difficult. If you're not there yet, it's where you're going with a series of situations in your life. I have this with the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, which is the missing piece, holding somebody accountable. Oh, that was the missing piece in your personal happiness, is you simply had to learn how to enforce boundaries appropriately. And with a greater level of comfort. When we first start learning about them, it never goes well at first because we do it too strongly, too firmly, sometimes in a really punishing way towards the person who's hearing it, because we don't know how to do it yet. We go through a period of having multiple situations in which you have to enforce boundaries, and you get really good at it. It's very easy, and you don't have the guilt around it, because that is something that happens in trauma survivors over and over again. I attract a lot of trauma survivors to my channel because I am one, and is that we feel guilty whenever we're trying to assert our right to emotional safety, or for other people not dumping their stuff on us. Usually because, if you grew up with a punishing caretaker or around a narcissist or had a relationship with a narcissist, they invalidate boundaries and your right to them all the time. Knight of Wands in the upright, lots of new things happening, new things like progress, passion, interest. Oh, hey, for some reason, for some people, I have a very strong connection coming in as well. It's a general reading, can't hold true for everybody, but it looks awfully good to me. With the Justice card in reverse, things being out of balance or an unfair situation being remedied. And then that comes out with the grounded energy of the Tower card in reverse, which is like clarity around rebuilding a life. Hey, for some people, this is a long-term relationship is coming in, and your ability to protect yourself and have appropriate boundaries is the things that makes you ready for this particular connection. Because the King of Earth, like that's like if you're, remember, gender, whenever I say this, somebody like always gets upset, but it's just true. Gender in tarot is meaningless. It's about energies. The King of Earth is not necessarily a man, but rather the full manifestation of a very prosperous earth-based energy. Now, can it represent a dude? Yes, it can. And when it does, it represents somebody who's got like, you know, usually has a lot of money because it's a very earth-centered thing. But this is also saying that there is progress in just finances in your life, that there's more emotional happiness coming to you, that your time for having a family in terms of like feeling connected, and that does not mean giving birth to children or having children if that's not what you want, but having this feeling of inclusion, of having like loyal companions in your life. There's a lot of like clarity around just being very grounded, being in touch with your spiritual side, but like knowing that like spiritual information is delightful, but everything needs to be present in the 3D, the world. Accomplishment, celebration, completion, that is global, that's complete cycles. And then we have yet another pentacle, which is about abundance, opportunity, the hand of the god. It's a success card. This has been the most fun reading, particularly since, you know, I have a collective of people who had to heal from a lot of trauma, and new people coming in who didn't have to do as much. This is as positive a reading as I've been able to do in a long time. And the breakthrough is in like absolutely things being present in the 3D in a way that they have not been. That like it's not just a spiritual concept, this idea of emotional fulfillment and things manifesting in your life. And as I said, for some people, I very much have the, hey, the time for an actual partnership has come. And if it's been denied to you in the past, it really was about learning boundaries and being able to protect yourself and holding somebody accountable if they're not taking responsibility for other people's actions. It looks like that has been a struggle for you in the past, is that like you always circle around to blaming yourself, likely because that was how somebody controlled you in the past. But what seems to be present here is this very, very self-protective energy that is going to allow so much to flow to you again. It wasn't the right time in the past, but I've got it here. Like you won't allow unbalanced relationships in your life any longer. You've likely lost several relationships, and there was some pain around that. Dreamtime creation. This is the earth magic energy. We have autumnal equinox, which is the release energy. Oh, okay. And then I have fire and passion as well. So the dreamtime creation, I've got that very much feeling like, you know, dreams coming true energy. The autumnal equinox, and remember, that's one of the security energies. It's an earth energy. You are surrounded by so much of what is changing so much in the 3D. Like your 3D energy, the breakthrough is that like the things that maybe have been spiritual concepts to you in the past are now going to be material ones. So that like your connection will be to other people again in a way that it may not have been as you were learning how to have enforceable and healthy and self-protective boundaries. The breakthrough is like success for some people at a level that was one of the reasons that you had to learn how to be self-protective. That level of success is understanding that like the more you have, particularly like, you know, relatives can come out of the woodwork when you are succeeding and, you know, kind of claim that your success is related to something that they did. That's just an example, and it's not really actually present in here, but it's just an example of why we get held back from things manifesting in the 3D until when we're working with spiritual guidance versus simply trying to work with the law of attraction, which doesn't necessarily have a spiritual component to it. And does that invalidate the law of attraction? My gosh, no. we all are on different paths. And that's as valid a path as this. It's just that when you're on a path of that's what you chose for this lifetime, is wanting to have that spiritual connection, wanting to have that purposeful connection. I really like how protected this feels. Please don't forget that the Archangel Michael, this is actually one of the cards for the Archangel Michael. All of the kings represent the ability for the guardians of air or earth, water or fire. Don't forget that that's one of the protective energies here as well. Gabriel's in the background on that one. Presence. You're being asked to spend more time in the present moment, to stop ruminating the past or longing for the future. Your life is happening right now, and when you're not present for it, you miss it. You miss all of its beauty. We've been talking about how everything's in the 3D now. It will be in the present moment. It will not be this nebulous future thing. It will be something that you can touch, something that you can feel. There's a breakthrough on the manifestation energy. For different people, it's going to mean different things. Some people have been longing for a relationship, but like they healed and then they were like, yeah, no, I'm pretty good with my relationship with me. Does that then mean that a relationship may come to them? Yeah, it actually does. When we're on a spiritual path to be connected to our divine self, it takes longer for some things to come to us because we need to be in alignment with our divine self. And our divine self chooses what's best for us, even if it means that maybe a want or a need or a desire that soothes the ego is put to the wayside until we confront our unhealthy habits around what we allow into our lives, which is about boundaries as well. So that was what was holding something back, but there's a breakthrough of it all happening. Jump in. You're being asked to take a chance and give whatever you're questioning a try. The stars will never all align in just the right ways. Sometimes you have to take that leap anyway. This is that time. Being able to allow yourself to move forward after a period of difficulty, particularly if there was something that you were hoping for that didn't quite work out when it comes to relationships, that it can be difficult to move forward. It's a strange thing, but heartbreak we heal from. Calamity in the greater world we heal from. The most eroding and corrupting energy there is disappointment, because it kind of attacks our ability to have faith that everything's going to work out. If you had something that didn't work out, it's because it wasn't quite right for you. But that doesn't mean nothing is right for you. What it means is it was making, particularly when it was held back for you, it's because there is something that's right for you. That the universe couldn't risk you wasting time with something. Because I have really strong manifesting energy around this. If something or someone was held back from you, it was because they needed you to be at a different point for your faithful journey. And because they wanted to make sure that not too much of your time was spent on the lesson learning from other people. I've got this energy of like people trying, but not a lot in the 3D. That there's a little bit of a void energy in the 3D, that things weren't coming in on the 3D. And it really was about learning boundaries. Choice. You're being asked to make a choice that you've been struggling with. It's time to decide which path you're going to take. Listen to your intuition, eliminate everyone else's input, and feel your way into the choice that is right for you. The time is now. I'm not going to tell you ever to eliminate other people's input. I'm going to tell you to take it in consideration to whether or not you see it as valid. Because we all have difficulty facing truth about ourselves, about like what we need to change and how we contribute to our less than satisfying outcomes. And it's not an accusation. My gosh, I do it. I've done it. Something I had to confront as well. And to try and keep that part in mind. Presence, jump in, and then choice. You have a lot of more, there's more opportunity to do and to see and to experience more. If you've been in that period of not a lot happened and you kind of got used to it, it's going to be something that you have to actively allow in. Breaking free from that, I'm treading water, it seems like it's a very dull time. It does have to do with what we will allow in as well. And so there's going to be a lot of choices around what you will allow in. But this is your reading if you've done this work around learning boundaries. You're ready for things to come in on the 3D, and the breakthrough is in your 3D energy. where success is trying to come in, a relationship is trying to come in. This has been the funnest reading because there's very much like every earthly good thing. Like if you've dreamed of your dream home, like that's being made possible. If you've dreamed of a partner in that dream home, then that's coming to you at the time that it was right for it to come to you. And like I said, if there was somebody it didn't work out with, it was so that you wouldn't miss your opportunity with the person it would. And like you weren't as ready as you needed to be yet, which is very, very common. And don't take that as a criticism. We've all got work to do. The key, locked doors can now be opened. And then we'll take this one too. The dragon, strength and wisdom. And we're going to take one more on this. Hindrance. Fate has blocked this path for you. There's a fate card as well. Take one more. The dagger. Conflict and danger lie in wait. Hey, listen, I think I hit something on the head for some people there when I was talking about something you really wanted did not work out for you. It was for your own good. And then the conflict and danger lie in wait. I'm afraid there's something going on in the greater world that like it's not going, you're going to end up happier and healthier and more grounded and more secure, and lots of things will be coming into the 3D energy. And it kind of looks like maybe the 3D world is going to make you get, but like, how long do I get to keep this? It won't, you get to keep it. Like when you're on a spiritual journey, you live in this very, very protected space when you're trying to help others. And so I have so many healers, I have so many therapists in my collective, I have so many, people who are trying to heal others. I have other people who act as spiritual guides and crossroads guides, and people who are really, really trying to help others. You're very, very protected in that. Keep reaching for your higher self, and you'll be guided towards the things that will keep the things that are coming in the 3D safe. But there is one proviso with that. When you're actually really healed, you become very comfortable with the temporary nature of all things. That like if you, as this is a completely fictitious scenario, what if you get the person and the home and 15 years later, like even though you thought you'd live there till the day you died, something changes in your life, or it burns down, or you lose that home. If you focus on the end of something, then you will miss the entire story leading up to it. And the reality is very little is permanent in this life, because we ourselves are not permanent. And being in flow means allowing for things to come and go. So that the things that come to you, even though I have literally zero loss energy around this, I have really good completion energy. But what I also have is like something weird in the world around us. And that when you're in a healthy place, you don't worry as much about, do I get to keep this forever and ever? Instead, you know that life is lived one moment at a time, and to simply enjoy what is there. It does not actually degrade our experience to understand that literally everything in most relationships, because they will change even when the person remains with you, literally everything is impermanent. It actually enhances your ability to appreciate what is there while it's there, because you accept as the nature of life the fact that there's a circle to life and things will come and go. And so that won't scare you when you're in a healthy energy. The thought of like, what if I lose everything? What if I have to start again, over again? You won't worry about that part. You'll just really enjoy what is with you. But I have this really lovely 3D energy. So your breakthrough is a 3D energy with stability and success. And the only thing I've got that is a little bit of a, hey, pay attention to this part, is the greater world itself has a little bit of like eek around it. It's not cataclysmic, but that to remind yourself when you get worried about like, I just got everything in place, am I going to lose? That we can never know what the future will bring. And so to simply enjoy what we have in the here and the now, and you have a lot coming towards you that you can truly enjoy and truly celebrate. And stop putting so much worth on whether or not you get to keep anything, because we really don't get to keep anything. What we get is the feeling of resonant joy from moment to moment, and it can be continued from moment to moment, and it's more likely to be continued in an uninterrupted state when we simply accept that all material things are impermanent in nature, and that as we let things go, more will come to us when we live in that easy and relaxed energy of what is with me now is meant to be with me now, but it may need to leave me next Thursday, and that's only because there's something waiting to come in after that. And that's being in flow, okay? So remember that part, and remember your boundaries, because we can fall backwards into old habits, particularly when we begin new relationships. And you had something there with the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups that looked pretty important to remember that around, okay? Take care, be well. That was your reading. Thanks so much for joining me. Welcome back. Hey, if you chose pile number 3, this is your reading. We're putting the number 3 over there so that people can easily fast forward to their reading. But there are always timestamps in the description box down below. You chose the Messenger Oracle, and we're going to get at least one Oracle card to go with our tarot spread, which is being brought to us by the Guardian Angels Tarot. What breakthrough is at hand in pile number 3's energy? What breakthrough is at hand for pile number 3? Remember, this can manifest with the Tower, but it's the Tower is, I was just going into this in the other pile. Remember, all tarot cards have multiple meanings on them. There isn't just one meaning for even something like the Tower, which can mean destruction, and all kinds of things, but it can also mean divine intervention and a complete and sudden change. All right, 2 of Wands in the upright. Oh, guys, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, etc. We all know the drill here. It's if you want to know every time I post a reading, hit the post bell notification. You have a great reading. All right, 2 of Wands in the upright with the Knight of Cups in the upright, which is, it's all about like dreams and being happy and looking forward to the future, and it can be about new romances coming in. This is a crossroads energy. It's the making plans, committing to it. The world is your oyster energy. I love the 2 of Wands. Remember, your choices are the things that help you determine where you're going with that. But I've got the Page of Cups in reverse, which is like a surprise meeting, and the Queen of Wands in the upright. Hey guys, I think the area of your life that's about to transform is likely a romantic relationship. I will get love cards on this one. I haven't on any of them because, you know, with a breakthrough, I don't know what area is about to have a breakthrough. But it looks like that. It looks like your choices in the type of partners that you allow into your life will play a key role, but like that's pretty normal. With the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, which is self-reliance. It's the card of independence. It's the card of knowing your own personal power. Reversals are not bad, by the way. I am teaching reversals in my Patreon. There we got the Tower card, which is a complete and sudden change. Realization, life change, liberation. It's not a bad card. And that's why they have it as the transformation card here. So that's your breakthrough energy, and it does appear to be within your romantic life. Coming out with Queen of Air, which is logic, reason, brilliant, experience, humorous. I love the Queen of Air. That is, for other people who are trying to achieve something in a communication industry, whether it's in podcasts, whether it's in entertainment, whether it's a singer, you have a breakthrough energy of some dreams coming true around that as well. And if you're not in that energy yet, please keep going. It will pay off over the course of time. Queen of Wands makes things happen. Now, that is an individual who's very compelling, charismatic, desired by others, and also often a figure of desire. I'm not an astrological reader. It can mean fire sign energy, which is, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. I don't assign that to this. There's so much, astrology is a lot more complex than that. We're not just represented by our sun sign. The Chariot in the upright, which is willpower, victory, and recognition, which is another thing. So there are 2 meanings in this one, and it could be that you're going to have both things. There's a change in your romantic status with a lot more like pleasing energy around it, a lot more successful energy, a lot more like feeling like you're admired. The Queen of Wands is very admired. We've got your 4 of Wands in the upright. Prosperity, contentment, celebration. It's also the 1111 card. And that comes out with awakening. Pause, perspective, and selflessness. It's also the card of being in stasis sometimes, but it's the Hanged Man. Now, I don't mind the Hanged Man at all. It's particularly because it's like pause and reflect, and it's like, what's interesting? It's almost like they're telling you that your spirit guide messages will be very, very readily available again. I went into this with absolutely every group. You have to ground and protect yourself. It is the best way to make sure that what you're getting is your real guidance, because there are spirit attachments out there. I think anybody who dwells in this land or works in this land at any point understands that part. Work in a protected space and you'll get that. That is, remember, try to connect. Try to connect in a safe space and you will get very good guidance. The bulk of this is about like, hey, you make good choices and believe in yourself now. Time to reflect, that one is with a new day dawns. A new day dawns, time to reflect. Boy, you're being asked to meditate and to connect. It doesn't like suit everybody, particularly if you've got this Queen of Wands energy. Remember, I did do a podcast on that, how to meditate if you have anxiety or depression or also ADHD, basically. There's a method for it. And once you get the method down, it comes naturally. You don't have to engage in the program beforehand to try and get yourself to connect. Good guidance on this, lots of success energy, a good moving forward energy. And we're going to get some love cards here because we got an indication around that. Time to reflect, a new day dawns. 1, 2, 3, here we go. What have we got? What are you guys talking about with this Knight of Cups energy, please? It really does look like there's, what area of life isn't transforming? A lot is unplug. Working less will help strengthen your relationship. Okay. Okay, thank you. For guidance on your ability to meditate, please get away from all forms of electronic devices at least once a week when you're meditating. It can be outside sitting on a bench, but like please don't have something playing on your phone. Because the electrical energy that goes with devices sometimes taps us into a different energy. Please try to be in a natural energy when you're meditating. Is there anything else that are they trying to tell you to let go and let the universe here? What is there anything you want to tell me about that Knight of Cups, or is that? We're going to see what they're going to say here. Balance. I'm a keyword reader. I do not read these very often. Balance, unplug, balance, and we want one more on this. Time apart, some distance will help bring clarity. Okay. They're not going to give me an answer on what they mean with that love information, but they are, okay. Be careful with love readings in a new relationship that is beginning. Have the relationship face to face, discuss your issues, like one reading to figure out if they're trustworthy. I tell everybody that. You can get one reading to tell somebody, find out if someone's trustworthy. You can also simply perform a cursory background check for about $13 to find out if they're telling you the truth on things. But readings help because they give you a window into somebody's emotional world. But then after that, like, don't try and figure out where it's going too much. Pile number 3, remember, the ability to spot something also depends on whether or not the reader themselves has a familiarity with it. So when I say this, please understand that the reason I can see it is because I possess the same energy. You can be a little too controlling in your relationships, and you're trying to seek safety. You're trying to seek safety, but you can try to find out where everything's going. You kind of want a spoiler sheet for how your life is going to go. And please remember, that actually robs you of joy and surprise when you're getting all your answers beforehand. Have the relationship because it's a good relationship. There's a lot of happiness around here. There's a lot of the surprises here. Surprise. Don't connect too much on the relationship. Use readings for your guidance and your purpose in your healing, in your spiritual journey. And remember that, again, when you're having relationships, it's more fun to have them with the actual person than to find out too much in cards. And that's kind of a weird thing for a tarot card reader to say, but it's going to yield you the best results. Unplug, balance, and time apart. Balancing will always be pile number 3. The other thing is that you are going to have to choose, make good choices, crossroads energy, of understanding your impulses through logic when it comes to Like maybe you're going to want to look at this person on social media a little too much. Maybe like when you're alone in with their phone, you're like, maybe I should check because you've got maybe some residual trust issues from difficult relationships in the past. And to logically think it through. Logically think it through. If you're not comfortable having somebody do that to you, please be careful with what you, because that's what is reflected in our relationships as well. That's what's reflected in our relationships as well, is that's the energy that we're creating. And so it creates this trust, and it's like this horrible self-fulfilling prophecy. So just to question your choices around your impulses, because you've had a little bit of a problem with some impulsivity and a need to control things, trying to seek safety. But the breakthrough is around success, and it's also around your emotional relationships. There appears to be a new relationship coming towards you. And according to my cards, for your emotional well-being, because of that tendency to want to control, it is best for you to not look too deeply into the relationship. You can just, with cards, you can use cards for anything else. So you don't need my permission for anything, and I know that part. But it will yield the best results for you because you're not thinking of it as like it takes away surprises. It takes away surprises. I'm going to use a completely fictitious example. Like if somebody was planning to propose to you on a beach vacation that they were booking a holiday getaway for your birthday, and like it was... Wouldn't you want to be surprised by that rather than being told by a tarot card reader 6 months ahead of time? Because you'll build it up in your mind, and then whatever does happen, you feel a little bit disappointed because you have this beautiful and vivid imagination. And so if it doesn't, because you have a tendency to want to control things, if it does not match up to what you were envisioning, you deal with a little bit of disappointment instead of the delight of like, oh my goodness, this person did this person did that. They were listening when I said what my favorite form of chocolate was, and they had it waiting at the hotel. Let yourself be surprised. Sometimes when you're in a difficult period of life, it feels like being menaced by life. I don't want these surprises. I just want to know what's going to happen. That can happen after a difficult period of too much change, too much emotional upheaval. In the aftermath, learning to live with I want like a little mystery in my life because that's what leads to delight. That's what leads to surprise. For your emotional construction, these cards are saying, think about what this message is about here. Take a new perspective. It's a spirit guide message. When it comes to love, you will be happier in your relationships if you just use it to like, hey, I just met this person, or I'm in this relationship. How are things going? Is there anything I need to know about the emotional construction of it? And don't look at where it's going. Have the relationship and have the delight. Because you're a naturally happy person, but your need to control sometimes has had you getting too many answers. That's what's in my cards. If it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. Remember, general readings can't apply to everybody. Check in. When you think about whatever it is that you're pondering, take a moment to check in with how you feel about it. Do you feel lighter or heavier, excited or filled with dread? Pay attention to your inner guidance. It's always so helpful. And then checking in, what you're being asked to do is before you act, check in logically with, why am I doing this? What do I hope to gain here? What feeling am I trying to make better with this action? Because understanding your feelings on an intellectual level, the Queen of Eras, like she's the Queen of Swords, she is so logical and so methodical. And we're talking about a method for you to guide your actions in a way that isn't about repression, but rather understanding of self. And when you have strong understanding of self, all the relationships that you have around you, like you only take what's yours. You don't like take responsibility for other people's reactions in the same way. You can recognize what's somebody else's work and what's your work, basically. And then we want create. You're being asked to connect with your creative side in whatever way feels best. This part of you needs extra attention right now. It needs to be expressed in a bigger way. As another breakthrough energy, we have breakthrough energy, and I know I went into that at the top of this pile, is that for people who are trying to make things happen in social media settings, in business settings, there's a lot of like, there's going to be some stuff happening and you are going to be happy about it. Let going to use the angel answers on you to start closing out this reading. Is there anything else pile number 3 needs to know? Because the breakthrough is at hand. It's mostly in your emotional world. And be just a little careful with your choices and the things that we talked about here. Remember, I'm connected to the Archangel Gabriel, so I am talking to, that's the spirit guardian, the guardian angel of epiphanies and truth. And so sometimes I'm saying stuff people don't particularly want to talk about in tarot because they want it to be more like escapist, more romantic, more, you know, he cried when talking to his mother about you type of thing, which I'm not mocking that. There's room for that. Romance is beautiful, but I'm a self-empowerment reader. And so that's what I talk about, is how to be the most empowered version of yourself. Romance is beautiful. Spirituality is beautiful. There's room for all of the different types of readings. The different readers have different focuses. And my focus has a tendency to be in like, how do I work with myself to get my best outcomes? And sometimes that is about kind of looking at yourself kindly, lovingly, not with criticism, but with just acceptance of who you are. Understanding if I accept and love myself as I am, I don't need to think I'm perfect, but I know what I'm working with. Like we were talking about with the whole, you know, you can be a little controlling. It probably has to do with anxiety because you have a very rich emotional world. And so like you may like want to know too many details and try to be a little inflexible around things, trying to protect your feelings. And a better way to protect your feelings is to deeply understand them and have a robust inner dialogue with yourself about what they're really talking about. Whether it's that like it's tapping into your abandonment issue or that fear that you have that everything good goes away, that type of thing. Helpful people. Oh, yes, like it. And then recovery. For some people, one of the things that you're being asked to do is to seek guidance from someone else to help with that self-understanding. Now remember, trained therapists are fantastic. And because of the pandemic, it's been normalized to meet with people in a Zoom setting, so that opens you up beyond your geographic area. So you can find a trained therapist. Sometimes, you know, depending on the type of reader, you can get a reading and get some guidance on your best methods and what you're coping with, what you're trying to do. I always recommend that, but like I'm not just here trying to sell people anything. I really am trying to help people get their best outcomes, because if you're in my collective, you're a deeply caring person and you're a deeply gifted person as well. And you deserve to feel as happy as you can make other people feel. But it does involve doing our work, you know. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, seek guidance as well, because it looks like you might have a little bit, like you have trouble trusting your own ability to ascertain what you're dealing with sometimes. That's just what it looked like. So a little bit of help in gaining new perspective for spirit guide messages. Was there anything else on this one that I'm seeing? God, it looks beautiful. Pile number 3, breakthrough at hand. Yay! Transformation into all kinds of good things with success and the ability to feel guided and like there's a purpose to your journey that makes sense again. Sometimes it takes so long to resolve the energies that hold us back from our best outcomes. It can start to feel like, hey, have I been abandoned here? Was any of this ever true? It always takes longer, and we always think we're healed before we are. And it's just an issue of like wanting to get on with it. Like not wanting to be held in stasis, wanting to have the big experiences and to have life be all about distractions that keep us from having to work on that inner world. But you're going to be in a period of your life where you feel that connection again, like there's a point to it, like there is a purposeful energy. I almost want to say like there is a restoration of faith in your life. And faith means different things to different people. And when you hear the word faith, please do not think religion. Religion is a man-made structure built around the concept of faith. Faith, belief, is your connection to spirit, to the divine, to the universal force that guides you. The spirituality and religion, that's the construction made by the people trying to access that and trying to help people develop a method for it. But there are not interchangeable concepts. One is built around something that exists within, and the faith and the belief and the ability to connect exists within. Sometimes we have to learn the methods, but it's also a very personal thing. It doesn't belong solely to any type of belief system. It belongs to the individual and is accessible for the individual as well. And there's going to be, that's one of the transformations in your life, is feeling that resonant connection again. Or perhaps for some people, for the first time. Pile number 2, that was your 3. Pile number 3, look, I've looked over at the number, so apparently I was the person who needed it there this time. Pile number 3, that was your message. If you want to book me for a private reading, @therisingmoon.com is the only way to do so. It's linked in the description box down below. Don't forget to check out my podcast, Logical Magic Examining Esoterica. And I have a Patreon where there's Monday through Friday spiritual advice. And I'm also beginning to teach reversals and how to read them in a spread as well. So I will be doing some tarot teaching on that Patreon as well. Take care. Be well. Welcome back. Hey, if you chose pile number 2, this is your reading. We're putting the number 2 over there so people can easily fast forward to their reading, but there are always timestamps in the description box down below. You chose the Chinese 5 Elements Oracle for your Oracle deck. We will be involving other Oracle decks as well, and we're going to be using the Guardian Angel Tarot for all of the predictive spreads on this particular reading. So let's get going here, guys. What is the breakthrough that is at hand for pile number 2? What breakthrough is coming in for pile number 2? Please don't forget, these can manifest as the Tower. It didn't in pile number 1, but remember, the Tower is not actually a bad card. It can be the card of divine intervention, epiphanies. It can be the card of spiritual enlightenment. It can be the card of being struck psychic. It's not a bad card in and of itself. Truly, there aren't really any bad cards in tarot, although who likes the 3 of Swords? Heartbreak being something of a bummer. Let's get going for pile number 2, guys. Hey, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. That's the only way to book me. Fascinating. Okay, we have the 3 of Cups in reverse. It's very water-centric energy so far. The 7 of Cups in reverse. And this is where I have to cover, remember, reversals aren't bad. Reversals just have a different meaning. This card you want in reverse because it's something coming into the 3D. It's a very grounded energy. The 3 of Cups in reverse can be a card of relying on self-reliance. Having good emotional regulation is one of the meanings of the 3 of Cups in reverse. 2 of Pentacles in the upright, everything being in a very balanced state. I have the Ace of Cups in the upright. You've got so much water energy on this one, guys. The Ace of Cups is it's the cup runneth over. It's the Holy Grail. It is having joy and contentment. It is one of the cards for emotional fulfillment. It can be about the start of new relationships as well. This is somebody who's got a very balanced emotional world these days, and you might have had to learn the method for that, but most people do. Most people do. One of the things that we do as we have to learn how to control our emotions in public and in relationships, and that can lead to a method of repression. And what we have to get to be is being in the responding, not reacting space. And by the way, this is the point where I should have said, I'm a very realistic reader, so I'm going to have a lot of very earth-centered energy on this one. You may have struggled with emotional regulation issues in the past and had to learn a method to be able to understand your own emotions and how to take care of them. But you've achieved that. Things are starting in a lot of areas of your life. Things are going to come back into balance for you. If they've been a little off balance, if you felt like you were the only thing you got to do for a while was concentrate on your healing, remember that is an act of love on the part of the universe. They're trying to keep you from doing the same things over and over again and having even more parts of your life taken from you, more time taken from you. As you, until you learn your process, it's difficult to be in flow. We have the 6 of Swords in reverse, which is closure on that. I really like that. It's the end of something. It can be the death of something as well. This is the Hanged Man in reverse, which is being brought out of a period of stasis and everything moving forward, being able to take a new perspective on things. That's one of your keys in your emotional regulation. That's the Intuition card with the Queen of Cups in reverse. This being really, really connected. Whenever you need to connect, balance first. And remember, balance can be quite literal. I go hiking, it's very, very balancing. Walking is balancing. You can listen to chakra recordings. You can do yoga. It's one of the reasons that yoga is so incredibly popular, is it is one of the ways to energetically balance. Then I have it with the Dreamer, the Fool in reverse, which is caution going forward. I'm not... the only thing you're still going to struggle a little bit with is your ability to trust. Like you've struggled with your ability to, you may have had some difficult relationships in the past that damaged your ability to trust. And that is the one that like you're going to have to stay in touch with, is that remember being aware of the signs around whether or not somebody is trustworthy. One of the things that we have to accept if there has been a toxic energy is like sometimes we ignore the ways in which somebody might be inconsistent. And that's really what I get the feeling around here, is that something went wrong in the past because you kept explaining away someone's inconsistency. Maybe with like, oh, they've got a bad memory, that's how they really remember that. And instead it was actually that they were gaslighting you, that type of thing. Five of Pentacles in the upright, with the Knight of Pentacles in the upright as well. Now, the Five of Pentacles is one of the cards for like feeling left out, for feeling isolated. It can be financial deprivation. I'm not getting that feeling here. This is slow and steady progress towards your financial stability. You're still making it. Your emotional world came online first for you, but that's the breakthrough that you've really gotten to. It's coming soon if you're not there yet, where you're no longer going to feel like you're at the whim of your emotions. And it's not through repression, it's through understanding, it's through this really, really robust process on this. I actually genuinely like this, but the breakthrough is just a lot of happiness. That if it has not been a time where there's been much happiness, that's all coming back into balance again. Like you're going to remember and like feel, not just remember, but feel in a new and exciting way why people like celebrate life so much. And it might have been a little elusive for you as you were going through that period. Metal Rabbit, a state of graceful movement, which is being in flow. Fire Dog, redefine your boundaries. And then we have Water Rat, focus on your vision. I gave this, my usual please protect yourself lecture to the first group as well. And I never mean it as a lecture, but for everybody here is psychic. You've got psychic intuition. You're being told to balance before reaching out. And don't forget to protect yourself as well. So what does that mean? It means that if you're trying to meditate and you're trying to do any form of reading for yourself, it's not a bad idea to do it before you watch pick cards as well, is to balance and to protect yourself so that your guidance will guide you towards the readers that have the accurate information for you. Because there's always we always get a little misled by things that are trying to feed off an energy. And that makes it sound really creepy and like it's a vampire or something. It's not always that. It's just something trying to survive. It's something that creates an energy and that draws you to it, and then you're giving your energy, and that's how that, particular attachment survives. It's not as simple as good or bad. It's just what is and what isn't out there. And one of the ways to make sure that you only are interacting with what you hope to interact with, which is your direct guidance towards your spiritual path and your most emotional fulfillment within the 3D, is to make sure that you are protected before you move forward in that. But you've got the Water Rat as well. You might be you might be somebody who is going to meditate best by bodies of water. And if you don't have one, remember they sell those little battery-operated fountains that will work just as well. Will you get a more intense connection in nature? You'll get more energetic flow through your entire body. But remember, it's just the sound of running water that will help you. All right, we have worth. You're being asked to honor your worth. It can be so easy to feel that we aren't good enough or worthy of happiness. This simply isn't the case, however. You are worthy and you have inherent value. It's time to cherish yourself and to see your true worth. So what I was talking about before was more happiness. Your breakthrough is in your emotional happiness. You are going to feel it and achieve it, and you won't be as, I almost want to say, panicked by the idea of unhappiness any longer. Meaning that you'll know that if you've got you're working through something, you're talking about something, and you cry for 10 minutes, that doesn't define the rest of the day. You don't stay in the energy. It flows from you and to you and out of you very, very easily. There's a good state of being in flow here. But again, pile number 2, you're working well with the element of water, so please remember that. Running water, the sound of running water also means that you can meditate in the shower or in the bath, but that water is one of your conduices, it's one of your conductors. Speak up. What are you not saying that's eating you up inside? You can't keep this in forever. It's time to let it out so you can move on and be happy, 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 happy. You're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. You're going to largely look at your life as being a happy experience. That is your breakthrough. And it is, you know, does it involve doing your own work? It always involves doing your own work, participating in your process, knowing your own worth. What happens before we know our own worth is sometimes we'll accept relationships and situations that aren't worthy of us. Like I said, I got this weird feeling at the start of it that because you've got really good intent, you kept superimposing that on somebody else that you weren't interacting with and giving them the benefit of the doubt when you should have been like holding them to accountability. This is one of the cards for accountability. Even though if it's foreign trust and we wouldn't do it, and you couldn't listen to somebody saying, hey, you're hurting me, please don't do this any longer, and you as an individual would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, and you actually put time and effort into not doing the same thing towards that person because you care about their feelings, it can be really, really difficult to understand that's not everyone's base setting. Because what I've got here is that you really had to learn, this is one of the cards for self-worth, you really had to learn how to bring an end to a period of your life in which you did not know your own worth. And that when somebody mistreated you, you made a lot of excuses for them or explained it away, or they were going through a lot, or they're under a lot of stress at work. Hey, listen, we all have stress. Or like most of us are going through something almost all the time. It's not an excuse. And anybody can have a bad moment, but it needs to be a super rare, oh my God, and then they change the behavior in the aftermath. They're accountable for it, they change it, they're willing to apologize. One of the hallmarks of the type of relationship I'm spotting here is that the person likely never apologizes. That is not just a red flag, it's a red flag factory. The only people who grow are the people who are willing to look at themselves. So that's the only like proviso you've got on this, is that to maintain all the happiness that's trying to flow to you and from you and into your life as well, is to make sure that going forward you don't explain away what somebody else is doing, because it's the thing that costs you. Now the fives are about change, and I don't have a bad feeling on that Five of Pentacles. What I have is that everything will work out in the course of time. We have the black cat, your luck will soon change. The serpent, it's a sly and subtle approach is needed. Now that's one of the cards for attachments as well, and we talked a little bit about that, working with water. But the snake also changes its skin and has a new life. And then I have the unicorn, good fortune and friendship. I have one small warning on this, because I have this kind of happy and successful energy on this, is that very thing I was talking about where you have a tendency to explain away other people's bad behavior. Please examine your friendships as well. Please examine your friendships as well to see whether or not it's been a little bit present in your friendships. Because I've got somebody who like you need to be a little bit careful around, because they really care about you, but they're jealous of you. And so when something, and they don't like that part about themselves, like they lecture themselves on it all the time, and they really, really might not have ever told you. But it's a little bit difficult for them. And so you're going to know what I'm talking about, by the way. Be careful in the way that you deliver your good news. Don't hide your good news from them any longer, because that's the habit that you got into. Is that because you knew they were a little bit jealous of you, is that you don't share very much with them. And like all you kind of have to do is like talk about it in a way where you know how fortunate you are. And it's not you're not changing your emotional approach to cater to their feelings as much as like having grace, because you understand what they're jealous. I think it might be a weight issue, by the way. You understand what they're jealous of in you, and like you're just kind of kind to it. And that's all it is when you talk about your good fortune and things, is you just acknowledge that, you know, you're like, you know, you're very, very blessed and you're very fortunate. And like, you know, you also worked real hard to get there, so don't feel guilty. more happiness. There's a breakthrough in the quality of your life and your emotional resonance that I love. You're being given a little bit of advice about being careful with redefine your boundaries. Oh, I got it. But you're also being given a little bit of advice about pursuing your connection closer to bodies of water or involving water. And one of the things you can do that if you're like, this is really like, I need to meditate at my lunch hour at work, bless, activate, and empower some water and drink it beforehand. That's the other thing you can do. And here I've got a glass of water right here. I don't know how weird this is going to look. But you can hold it in your hands and you say, I bless, activate, and empower this water to bring me into flow, to bring me my intuition, to connect me to the flow of my intuition. And then you drink it. And that's how you bless, activate, and empower things. Now, I'm in a fully protected space. Always protect your space. Let's see if there's any other oracle decks we want to get involved here on this. I'm going to go for the Purple Canyon Wellness cards. I don't think I've gotten this already, but it's sitting there practically staring at me. So let's get this in here. It's a good deck for anything having to do with emotions and with self-care. And that's the only thing I've got here is a bit of a struggle with prioritizing your own self-care. You have a healer's energy, and healers always struggle with prioritizing themselves. Letting go. It's a cage being broken free. Beauty. And then we've got my success. The only reason I'm laughing a little bit is there's a little bit of remember, I'm a keyword reader. I will read these paragraphs to you. I don't like the way they're worded. They have a tendency to be just the idiotest bit like condescending. But let's go. I choose to be free and will fly towards positive relationships. Words and actions will no longer make me feel lesser than what I truly am, a gift to this world. I choose to embody light and let go. Letting go of our expectations of what our life should be is one of the things that really, really helps with building that emotional happiness. Look for the beauty in the life that you have. Beauty. Seeking approval or gazes from others is not important. I seek to define myself in full and not just by my appearance. My beauty is most prominent when I'm living a carefree and happy life, unconcerned with others' approval. Now, I know I just gave you a little bit of advice around being, because the reason I'm doing that is your friend, because this can be a false friend energy, is not a false friend. They're not a false friend. They've tried to imitate you in the past, okay? And remember, it really is because they just wish they could be more like you. All right, we have my success. I define my own success in life. Some people want money, others want happiness. My definition of success is what I intentionally choose. I will roll up my sleeves and ponder what success means to me, then work hard to reach these goals. That is one, being happy is the most successful energy that there is. If you are a happy person, if you are happy with your existence, if you are happy as you approach this world, then honest to goodness, that is success at a level that our world does not understand. Because you could have all the money in the world, but if you're miserable, what does it do? It just accumulates. Being happy is the most successful energy. And being happy on your terms. With what you have, with what you achieve, not how others judge it, not how others might. That weird, like you got an envious friend, but like they're not going to do anything horrible to you. And like I said, it's weird. I get this energy where like they're aware of it and they feel terrible about it. Where they really are always taking themselves to task about like they think you're kind of a cool person. But something you do looks effortless to them. And it's it's very, very difficult for them. So what else have we got here? Speak up and worth. Understanding your own feelings, and then I'm positive we already covered this, was to speak up and pay attention to how swiftly somebody addresses a concern. Now remember, we can't control another person's behavior, so always like check in with yourself, am I being reasonable in my expectations? But most of the time we are. And what I've really, really got was in the past, like you just extended the benefit of the doubt and explained away something. And that it's something to don't explain away people mistreating you. Now, sometimes somebody can mistreat you and you can decide to have grace for it. where you simply are allowing a level of understanding, but it can't be a way of life. It can't be a way of life. Everybody can have a moment, but like those moments cannot be strung together and form an hour and have it be fair. You know what I mean? So group number 2, your breakthrough is in a lot more emotional happiness. And I really do mean a lot. Like where you wake up excited about the future in a way that is, and it's because you did your work. You did your work. Because happiness is ultimately a choice that we make about how we look at our lives and what we look at our lives for, what we're celebrating in our life. We do have to choose to celebrate what is good in our life, even when we don't have what we think we want yet. And that will change. That whole success thing, your idea of success will change. And once you are happy, being able to preserve that happiness is often the thing that you will choose. That you will choose it over money, you will choose it over attention or validation or accolades of a world that is suffering and doesn't know how to fix itself. But you have the ability to reach into your own intuition and find your emotional flow. And like I said, whenever you're out of sorts, get to water because it'll help you a lot, okay? All right, pile number 2, that was your reading. Hey, if you want to book me for a private reading, there's a link to my website in the description box down below. It's the only way to book me. And I have a podcast, Logical Magic, Examining Esoterica, where we talk about all kinds of emotional healing subjects and magic subjects, and I have guests on, and it's a good time. I hope you're able to join me. Take care. Be well. Hello and welcome back. If you chose pile number 1, then this is your reading. We'll put the number 1 over there so that people can easily fast forward to their readings, but there are always timestamps in the description box down below. Guardian Angels Tarot is going to be bringing you the predictive spread. You're going to get a card or 2 or 3, it depends on what's going on with the reading, from the Soul Helper as well. And this is what breakthrough is at hand. And as I said in the intro, please remember I kind of specialize in realistic readings. Whether it's good news or it's bad news, I will be telling you what's in the cards and how to get your best outcome out of them. And then also to remember, because of the nature of the reading, that a tower may be present, but to not greet it with, shock and awe, but rather, okay, that's the epiphany energy. Because the tower is also the card for divine intervention. Sometimes divine intervention can get a little rough. Let's get going for pile number 1. So this chunk of cards fell out, and we're just going to go ahead and start with them. Hey guys, before I get started, don't forget to do good things like subscribe because it helps my channel. The ego card is interesting to me because it's the devil card in other decks. It came out in reverse, which is the end of like difficult and reducing energies in your life, meaning that the things that used to hold you back, dependency, materialism, potentially attachments, like there's a breakthrough on that. You're going to be clearer and have a better method for being clear as you go forward. We have the 9 of Cups and the Upright, which is a card of manifestations. As you are cleared of your attachments, your ability to manifest is, oh, that's your breakthrough. Holy moly. We're using an infinity spread here. The breakthrough is that once you have resolved your attachments to things that don't serve you, and it can be almost anything. It can be any habitual thing that holds you back. Remember, our patterns and our routines are not actually our friends. In order for energy to be able to manifest in our life, for the law of attraction to work, we have to allow things in. And so we don't want rigid structures. We don't want to build an energetic cage around us by doing the same things every single day. And that's what dependency is, being dependent on your routines. When somebody is set in their ways, their life will not change very much because they will not allow change in. Don't be set in your ways. Be flexible. Go with the flow of the moment. For some people, this will be you are through a period of codependency recovery where, and remember, it always relies on awareness, being aware of whether or not you're maintaining a healthy energy, living in a healthy energy when it comes to relationships, to work, to places, to people, to things. With the 9 of Cups in the Upright is a manifestation, dreams coming true energy. It is the life is a bounty energy. With the 5 of Wands, which for me is one of the cards, now it can be conflict and challenge. I rarely see it that way. It's also rising to the top. It's also becoming really admired in your field. But it's also one of the energies for change, and that comes out with the Knight of Air in the Upright, which is the Knight of Swords in the Upright, which is the fastest moving energy in the tarot. So it does have to do with stuff starts happening, and when it starts, expect expect your life to have a little bit of a 180 energy. If you have been going very slowly, if things haven't been budging, if you've tried and tried and tried and nothing has happened, it is not because nothing will ever happen. It's because you had to learn a difficult lesson around how to be flexible in what you will allow in. You may have been, and I'm an earth sign, so please remember, like when I say set in your ways, boy, do I ever get that part. You had to learn how to be open to what the universe was bringing you versus being so headstrong in what you were trying to make happen. And that's not to say you were doing anything wrong. That's not what it means. It means that for energetic flow to be maintained, you have to maintain that feeling of receptivity, the ability to connect, the ability to go with what is being brought to you. And that's the breakthrough, is that like you've mastered that, you've learned that lesson. With the Three of Cups in reverse, sometimes that can be a third-party situation. Sometimes it's learning to rely on self, which is the cure for codependence is independence. We've got the independence card, the being free of any toxicity in your life is what that ego card or devil card means in reverse. This comes out with the clarity card of the moon in reverse. The moon in the upright is not a bad card, but it can talk to like hidden motivations sometimes. I love the moon in reverse because it's significant of the new moon manifestation energy. It's also significant of nothing being hidden, of things being very clear, of your intuition flowing to you very, very freely. And then I've got the Emperor in reverse, which can be an abuse of power. It can be like not making the world's best choices either. I'm not getting a bad vibe from this, but I am getting the vibe of like there's something weird in the exterior world. And like kind of weird enough that you'll be like, well, what's going to happen with that? For you, not a great deal. For you, you're going to be very guided, and to please remember how safe you are. With the Seven of Swords in reverse, or the Seven of Air in reverse, which is a card for clarity, for the path being clear, for your strategy working out, for your plans coming to fruition. Seven of Swords in the upright is a difficult one, but you've got it in reverse here, and you've got multiple cards of clarity and of being free of something. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Remember, reversals are not bad. Actually, on my Patreon, I just started teaching reversals and how to read them in spreads. And I'll be going through the entire tarot and doing that. The Seven of Cups in reverse is actually an excellent card. It is a card of things being very grounded, things being in the 3D, things being realistic. With the Two of Pentacles in the upright, which is balance and being able to like go with the flow of things. Being at this particular Two of Pentacles features very calm seas in the background. They don't always. In the Waite Smith, there is sometimes an energy of stormy seas ahead. I don't have that here. The symbolism here is of leaving difficult situations behind, sailing towards a promised land type of energy. This person is in very good balance. There are multiple butterflies, which are like, you know, you're coming into the next stage of your life. And if it got a little messy getting there, it always does. It always does, particularly when we're trying to get this ego card, this devil card, because that is the card for Capricorns, by the way. In reverse like this, it's having healthy habits is one of the easiest ways to put that. Because it can be a card of addiction recovery. It can be a card of resolving all forms of toxic connections. But what it really is a card of is being able to choose healthfully for yourself. In an infinity spread, which is what we're using here, these underlying issues will always tell me a little bit more about what is going on with this. We've got a change as well in the type of, hey, listen, for my people who maybe have been single for a little bit and you've been a little bit resistant to that, you don't need to be. You would never, ever, ever accept, once you've achieved this energy, you're not going back. You do not need to worry about like somebody coming towards you and pulling the same crap as potentially a toxic relationship in the past. You would put a halt to that with a quickness when you're in a healed energy. So that is one of the reminders of this, but your real breakthrough is that your ability to choose well for yourself is online now. Meaning that you do not need to fear attachments from the past, difficulties from the past, the things that you've been trying to heal. This is kind of like your discharge papers from an energetic hospital type of energy, where you're ready and to not hold yourself back in any area of your life. And the reason you're getting that particular message is that there's a couple of indications here that some of the things that will like come towards you in the past have been a little bit problematic. It might be a romantic relationship for some people. I don't have that on the table, but there's this interesting energy of like, don't worry, your taste has changed in people. If you've had this energy where this is the first thing that came through is you had to go through a period of recovery from habits that weren't particularly well suited to your emotional health, your energetic health, and your, you know, your love relationships either. But this particular person has been all the way through that. And things are very, very cleared on that. The only thing I've got is that you might hold yourself back a little bit because you're afraid of the past repeating. You are very different and you do not need to be afraid of that part. And that's not to say that you have to go out and like get hooked up or something. If you want to, you can. And I think you need my permission. But your guides are telling you that you don't need to be afraid of the past repeating. You have resolved that. There's a lot of clarity around this. There's a willingness to be very grounded. You're not going to get caught up ever in fantasizing about who somebody is. You will see them as they are. Awaken all your senses, slow down and become aware of them. It's awareness. Awareness is the key to this. Being aware of what you are doing and whether or not it's good for you. And when you have a stray thought about potentially like somebody who wasn't good for you, treat it like a craving. Treat it like a craving, like somebody who's quit smoking and suddenly you're like, I wish I could go light up. And then a part of you comes in with your logical mind and is like, that is not what I'm going to do to my lungs, not what I'm going to do to my body. I'm making healthy choices. I like being able to breathe easily and when I do healthy things, I get healthy results. It's awareness. It's the only, if you're holding yourself back in any area, remember your awareness of what's going on is what will protect you going forward. And that, protect what you love. It is your duty and responsibility. You are a self-protective person. Now we're going to get one more on this. Rise above the dark days. Do not fight them, but have faith that light will always return. Hey, so breakthrough on this is like lots and lots of stuff happening in a lot of areas of your life. If things have felt very slow, they're not going to feel for very long. This is determined and motivated, but it's also the card for air travel. It is the card of things going very, very quickly indeed. Messages coming in easily. Hey, the other thing that you need to know is that I have a process here that like to tap into your guidance, which is what meditation does. It gives us a space for receptivity to receive the information that we're meant to. Your guidance is readily available to you, and like it's not going to take much to get connected to it. You can meditate for 2 minutes when you're in a cleared space and get all the information that you need. Now, if you enjoy meditating for an hour, then by all means. And if you don't meditate well, please remember I did a podcast on how to meditate with depression or anxiety. It's a very good beginner method for how you start doing it when it doesn't come naturally to you, when you can't turn your mind off, when you've got a very busy inner space. A lot of people who have natural psychic abilities suffer from the inability to like not be able to clear their mind because their receptors, their antennae. And you have to get to a very good place of being, that's that awareness coming in, of knowing how to brush that off, the busy thoughts that will try and intrude. You really do just get very good about like having them as a background hum. There's no focus on them. And so then you're in a clear and a receptive space, and it does not take long to get the messages that you want. We're going to use the Shishu deck as well. Breakthrough energy on momentum in your life. If things have felt very, very stalled, they will not be. Again, it looks to me like you've cleared a difficult period of your life where you potentially had at least 2 partners that really didn't treat you properly, and it took you a while. And this is not an accusation, it's just what happens. It took you a while to be able to understand, oh, I've mentioned this multiple times and they have not changed, which means that they don't really care that much about what I want. They're here for what they want. And to like walk away from the people who would not listen to what you were telling them. Like if you have to say it twice, then like the second time, like the third time it pops up, don't bother having the conversation, because they've already shown you how much they are receptive to making the changes it would take for you to be happy in that relationship with them. If they won't do it, you gotta move on, or else you're stuck with the unsatisfying energy of somebody who, you can't have the same conversation with somebody over and over again about respecting your feelings or feeling listened to, or if you could just do this, I need this from you. And they don't do it and they don't do it. They may be incapable or they may be uninterested. And that's the only thing to keep in mind going forward as you have relationships. We have protect. You got 2 of protect. You're being asked to protect yourself and your energy. It's okay to want to give to others, which you do effortlessly. It's important, though, that you set healthy boundaries with your energy before doing so. Now is the time to get some protection in place. If I did not mention this, if you've not been with me for a while as a reader, I am a broken record about ground, ground, ground. Always ground, always center, always align, and always call in protection before you meditate. You can meditate with things like protective energy shields playing in the background. I recommend the Sound Healers, Sound Energy Alchemist, Inner Lotus Healing Music, and Taoist Wind Spirit they're all very, 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 very good for protection. You can listen to any of their recordings. I also like chakra vibrations. With celebrate, you're being asked to celebrate a recent accomplishment, no matter how big or small. Do something special to commemorate the moment. You deserve that and so much more. So your breakthrough, receive was next. You have absolutely lovely energy going forward, pile number 4. Your breakthrough appears to be around your happiness, success, seeing a return on your investment as well of energy, and that the hard work that you've done is paying off. You're being asked to open to receiving universal gifts. These could come in the form of love, money, compliments, healing energy, and universal wisdom. Know that you're worthy of these gifts and open up to them. Hey, please, let's backtrack a little bit, because we're looking at the breakthrough. The breakthrough is you get the messages you need when you need them. There's a lot of clarity around this. Any fears that you have around, I will repeat the past, no, you will not. You did a lot of work in order to be able to heal yourself, to make the best choices, to be the most successful and the most protected version of yourself. I have this 9 of Cups energy, which is a manifesting energy. I'm always talking about the need to protect your magic, your space, anything you're doing for the law of attraction. Make sure you call in protection. It can be whatever you need to do. You can sound cleanse. I have on the first video that's available to people on my channel is some smudge spray that I made without Palo Santo or sage, because they are both endangered. And so it's important to try and respect sustainability. If you respect your resources, you get really good results. So that's one of the reasons that you need to do that as well. Protect, celebrate, and receive. Honest to goodness, you're being told that think it and it will appear if you're doing the proper energetic steps. Your breakthrough has to do with a lot of manifestation. A difference in you're probably gonna have an opportunity really, really soon to see how different you are when it comes to potential partners, potential opportunities. You're very good at, you've developed the word no appropriately in your life. You have very good boundaries. Now, the only one we still need to talk about is rise above the dark days of life. I believe there is a darkness in the greater world that will feel hey, is this going to have an impact on me? How much do I need to worry about this? You don't need to worry about it at all. You don't need to worry about it at all. As long as you are protected, as long as you invoke protection. You don't have to be well, am I protected? You invoke protection. You invoke the type, and different people are working in different belief systems. Your belief system is valid for you. Now, I work with celestial and angelic magic, so I'm going to be calling in the guardians who guard the 4 corners. I name them, I align, I envision myself in an energetic field, surrounded by purple fire, because that's divine fire. And that's what I do before meditating. But you need to do whatever helps protect you. And when you're in a protective space, you will get your answers so quickly. And that's your breakthrough energy, to remember that even though there's something going on in the greater world, there is something going on in the greater world in this spread. This is an abuse of power, and this can be conflict. And there is always a personal, and then there's always a universal energy to these type of draws. You're safe, though. You're safe and you're protected, and to please remember that. And when you're in doubt, what do? You clear, you ground, and then you sit down and create that space where you're just breathing in and breathing out with your eyes closed. You don't have to be in a special position, but it does help to align beforehand, which is drawing universal energy down through your chakras. And there are always remember, the search engines on YouTube are your best friends. There is somebody who has taken the time to make a video to teach you how to do anything that you want to do. All right, here we go. We have the proposal, a romantic or business opportunity is indicated. Boy, there are breakthroughs all over in like every area of your life. It's delightful. Cracker, positive energy surrounds you, love, joy, good and good fortune awaits. And then the next one would be fire. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the renewal of the present. There is a renewal spirit on this. That fire energy, that is one of the energies for like, it's just, there's something weird going on out there. And that is such a vague, and it's like there's always something weird going on and has been for years. It's going to seem a little more pitched for a little while, meaning that like watch for like the remainder of, these are timeless readings, but watch for about the next 6 to 9 months to have energies in the greater world where you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with that? You are guided and you do not need to worry about that. There's so much, your breakthroughs are in, if you've had a small life, your life is going to get bigger. If you have felt very held back, it was just they were trying to help you heal a tendency towards accepting things that weren't good for you. It might have been that you were resolving a tendency to people please, which is so natural. And don't ever, whenever you're told, hey, you're codependent, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, we all do it. Our society tells us to do these things, and we have to learn how to compassionately prioritize our own care, which means sometimes we will put somebody else first, but only when we're able to, and that whenever we do deplete ourselves for another person, it's a choice, not a feeling of obligation. It's a choice. So pile number 1, your breakthrough is in the ability to receive direct guidance in a meditative space, but you were told on multiple different platforms here with the cards, protect yourself first, because you're going to be a little bit prone to attachments. When you get that devil card or that ego card in reverse, it's because it's been there in the upright for a little bit, which is a tendency to have a relationship to something that isn't good for you. So please remember that. And all psychics are like that. Remember, when we look into cards, something can look back, and non-material space is infinite, literally infinite. So whenever you're reaching out, you have to take the steps to protect yourself so that only what is good for you will come into that sphere. And the same thing goes for when you're trying to manifest. And it helps a lot when you're working with the law of attraction to make sure you energetically clear first as well. But there is a breakthrough at hand where there's a lot of progress and momentum in a life that felt stalled for a while. Okay, so that is what's coming to you, and please enjoy it, but please remember to protect yourself when you reach out into energetic space. Hey, if you want to book me for a private reading, you can do so exclusively through @therisingmoon.com. There is a link to my website in the description box down below, and don't forget to check out my podcast, Logical Magic, Examining Hysterica, where among other things, I have some episodes that teach you how to do some manifestation. I always have really good guests on talking about different methods and methodologies for achieving the life that you are hoping to. Take care, be well, I'll see you next time.